Western Sharia law. This is crazy. Senator Tuberville actually speaks on the Senate floor about Islam and about the Sharia law and how we need to ban it nationwide. I've only seen a clip of this. This is crazy. Before we get into it though, my name is Cliff Buell. If you're new here, welcome. If you're not new here, welcome back. Love to see you here. If you enjoy the content, make sure you hit subscribe and like so that you can push it out for more people to see this. This is crazy. So let's get into it. And then I want to know what you guys think.
Mr. President, I come to the floor today to talk about one of the greatest threats facing our country today, Islamic extremism.
Yep.
24 years ago, September 11, 2001, nearly 3,000 innocent Americans were murdered in a coordinated terrorist attack carried out by radical Islamic extremism. Those of us who lived through that day remember exactly where we were when those planes hit the buildings.
Well, depending on who you are, this may or may not be a good example. We know the conspiracies around this and interesting example to bring up, but it does make sense. Curious your thoughts on this as well.
That day changed this country forever. We were smacked in the face with the reality that there are people who are so hell-bent on destroying America that they will kill themselves just to try to harm us.
That is true.
That's reality. It sends shivers down your spine, but it's true, and it happened. In the aftermath of 9/11, we created the Department of Homeland Security. Basically, we went to war. We spent the following 2 decades unsuccessfully attempting to westernize the Middle Eastern countries most responsible for this attack. We strengthened surveillance and gave up personal freedoms in the hopes of preventing another large-scale attack. But 20 years later, we have to ask, have we made any progress at all in rooting the evil of radical Islam out of this country? Have we done it? Let's be honest.
No.
Radical Islamic terrorism didn't go away after 2001. In 2009, 13 people were killed in a mass shooting at Fort Hood by an Army psychiatrist who was radicalized by Islamic teachings. In 2013, 3 were killed and hundreds injured when 2 brothers detonated bombs at the finish line of the Boston Marathon. They were inspired by their radical Islamic beliefs. Then in 2015, an ISIS-inspired couple killed 14 people and injured 22 at a party in Southern California. In 2016, Omar Mutin killed 49 people and injured 53 more at a nightclub in Orlando, Florida. Mutin pledged allegiance to ISIS during this attack. It continued in 2019 when a Saudi military trainee opened fire at the Pensacola Naval Air Station, killing 3 Americans, including 1 young man from my home state of Alabama. Earlier this year in Louisiana, a deranged person drove a truck into a crowd on Bourbon Street in New Orleans, killing 14 people. To no one's surprise, he said he was inspired by the Islamic State. These attacks, they weren't just against people. They were an all-out assault on Western culture, freedom, and the values that we hold dear to our heart.
100%.
But it doesn't stop there. Thanks to Joe Biden,
there is a clear pattern here. There's a clear teaching that comes from the Islamic faith. And while maybe not every Muslim is as radical or violent, but this is what Islam teaches. And it is clearly an attack on Western civilization, on Christian values and the culture that we have, the society that we have that comes from Christian Judeo values. It is crazy to me to think that we should be allowing or accepting this type of behavior in our country. It literally does not make any sense. And if we look at the UK, you can see how this plays out. It's going awful for them. And if you're unfamiliar with that situation, I encourage you to just do a little bit of research on what is going on in the UK with Islam just taking over, Muslims just flooding there. So let's get back to the video, though. This is getting out of hand, as you can see.
Thousands of people on the suspected terror watch list were allowed to enter this country over the past 4 years. Islamic extremism and Sharia law openly call for the destruction of America and Western culture.
100%.
Let's be clear. Let's be clear about this. The thousands of terrorists we have allowed to enter our country have brought their anti-American rhetoric and ideology with them. We're seeing this in cities like Minneapolis, Dearborn, Portland, Chicago, and even New York City. The leading candidate for mayor in New York City is a far-left socialist who sympathizes with extremist groups like Hamas. But this insanity, sadly, isn't limited to New York. We have elected members of Congress who openly support the radical Islamic terrorist organization Hamas.
Man,
just yesterday,
preaching.
we paused to remember the more than 1,200 innocent people including 40 Americans who were slaughtered by Hamas terrorists in Israel on October the 7th, 2023. Hamas literally means Islamic Resistance Movement.
Yep.
It's been 2 years, and 2 U.S. Congresswomen, Omar and Tlaib, they still refuse to condemn these heinous crimes in Israel. These 2 members were elected to represent American citizens, and they are sympathizing with Islamic terrorists instead. It's almost hard to believe.
It doesn't even matter where you stand on the issue with Israel, whether you're pro or anti or whatever your thoughts are about Israel. That is irrelevant to the fact that Hamas is a terrorist group and that they are an Islamic-based terrorist group. Those are facts. They always have been and they always will be. There's nothing you can say or do to get around those facts, regardless of where you stand with Israel. That's not the point of this video. I'm not going to get into that. But you have to recognize that Hamas is a Islamic terrorist group. Point blank, period.
But it's true. And they don't hide it. You know, we're allowing people with extremist ideologies, people who hate America values, to not only live here, but to hold positions of power and influence our government.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
Un-American. And it's an insult to the millions of Americans who have sacrificed their lives for this country and its freedom.
Yep, 100%.
You know, if you think this poisonous ideology won't affect your way of life, just look at Europe.
Yep,
The United Kingdom,
exactly.
once a proud nation that helped save the world from Nazi tyranny, has essentially lost its identity.
Yep.
It's gone. Mass migration has destroyed their society.
Yep.
There is no freedom of speech. Crime is through the roof.
Yep.
And openly anti-Semitic, pro-Hamas riots have become a regular occurrence.
Yep.
This is in Europe. This is in the UK. UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer recently appointed a person with extreme pro-Palestinian views as Home Secretary. In the UK, the Home Secretary is in charge of protecting national security, ensuring law and order, and overseeing immigration. What a surprise.
Wild.
So the person who is in charge of immigration and national security in the UK is openly a pro-terrorist.
That's insane.
If we aren't careful, the United States will look like Europe in 10 years or less.
Yep.
It's coming.
100%.
We can't bury our heads in the sand about this any longer. The Quran openly calls for violence against non-Muslims, openly.
Yes.
Radical Islamists take these instructions literally and to use them to justify terror. It's not politically correct to say this, but it's the damn truth. Something you won't hear from the deranged leftists who run cover for Islamic extremism is about the inhumane and disgusting ways that they treat women.
Yep.
In Muslim countries that follow Sharia law, it is considered normal for women to be raped, trafficked, and forced to marry as young as the age of 6. Pedophilia is rampant, and women are lucky if they are allowed to drive.
These are facts. This isn't anything more than facts. You can look up these things for yourself. What he is saying is 100% truth, and this is what they're trying to push. And what I don't understand, if you are a Muslim, please explain to me, if your countries are so good that are run under Sharia law, if they're so good, why are you coming to Western civilization? Why? If it's already good where it's at. But I think if we look at the evidence, the fruit of what is coming out of these countries, clearly, it's so obvious that it is not good. So I don't understand it. I can't comprehend it. I would think that even if I wasn't a believer in Jesus Christ, if I wasn't a Christian, this would still be so clear to me, so obvious to see. Man, we need to pray for our country. Pray for the UK as well.
I'm old enough to remember when Democrats championed the Me Too movement, which was self-described as a global survival-led movement to end sexual violence. But these same Democrats who championed the Me Too movement have been radio silent when it comes to the way women are regularly treated in countries that practice radical Islam.
Make it make sense.
I have yet to hear my Democrat colleagues who are siding with Hamas talk about the brutal ways Hamas has abused the women they have held hostage since October the 7th.
Come on.
Nor have I heard Democrats who claim to be feminists talk about the fact that some Muslims, countries that practice Sharia law, require women to be completely covered from head to toe. These women, they're not allowed to get an education, work a job, or in some cases even leave home. They are barred from gyms, parks, and beauty salons. They are forbidden from traveling without a male relative and are forced to wear certain clothing that covers everything but its eyes. But meanwhile, the men in these countries are allowed to abuse women, have sex with children, or have multiple wives, no problem. Everyone, but especially feminist groups, should be outraged about this horrible abuse of women. But that doesn't fit the left's narrative. So you won't hear a peep from liberal so-called feminists about the disgusting treatment of women in radical Islamic countries. You also won't hear from Democrats about how radical Islamic terrorists are currently carrying out a mass genocide of Christians in Nigeria.
Yep. Come
Think
on,
about this.
speak
More
about
than
it.
62,000 Christians have been slaughtered since 2000 by radical Islamic terrorists in Nigeria. You heard that right, 62,000. And just this year alone, more than 7,000 Nigerian Christians have been murdered because of their faith alone.
Yep.
You can't turn on the TV without hearing about Israel's so-called mass genocide of Palestinians every day. And yet when it comes to 62,000 Christians being slaughtered by radical Muslims, it's radio silence.
They're not reporting on it. The only reporting that I've seen on this is through either Christian news sources or social media. I've made some posts about it. It's wild. And this is Muslims killing Christians. The same old story.
This extreme ideology is straight from the pit of hell and has no place in American society.
Let's run that back.
We are blessed to have freedom from the Muslims, and yet when it comes to 62,000 Christians being slaughtered by radical Muslims, it's radio silence.
Listen to this.
This extreme ideology is straight from the pit of hell, and it has no place in American society.
None.
We are blessed that freedom of worship is a constitutional guaranteed right in this country.
Amen.
That's what our forefathers fought for. If you want to come here legally, practice a peaceful version of Islam, and blend into our society by adopting the treasured American values of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, you are welcome to do so. But if you believe that Sharia law supersedes American law, you should be deported immediately. If we don't take a stand now, our way of life, our Christian values, our freedoms, and our national identity will disappear.
Yep.
There's only room for one law in this country, and that's the Constitution of the United States of America. Sharia law is an anti-American and has no place in a free society.
Yep.
Texas is already taking action to ban Sharia law, and I commend them. Other states should follow. We
I
must
agree.
protect American values, not apologize for them. I truly believe we are at a crossroads in this country. For too long, people have tiptoed around this issue, afraid to hurt somebody's feelings or make people uncomfortable. But the time for being politically correct is over.
It's over.
The truth is that radical Islamic extremists want every single freedom-loving American dead. Bottom line.
Come on.
They have proven over and over again that they are willing to do whatever it takes to kill just one American citizen, whatever it takes.
I'm going to leave it there. Man, this is crazy. And I just want to state something that if you think Christians shouldn't be involved in politics, this is a clear reason as to why. Our country is founded on Christian Judeo principles and values. And when you have Muslims who are just pushing their Islamic agenda, Sharia law, trying to take over Western civilization, that's when Christians need to rise up. That's when we need to stand on the values that our country was built on. And, you know, we're throwing around this term of Christian nationalist as if it's like a curse word or a derogatory term to call someone. I think it means a lot of things to a lot of different people. Obviously, those things don't come before your relationship with Christ. But if we can make our nation a Christ-fearing nation as much as we possibly can, get involved, do what you can, use your voice, make a difference, vote, whatever you can do to stop this from happening and to still be able to have a God-fearing country, if possible. Man, this is so important, and I'm so glad. Thank you, Senator Tuberville. Shout out Alabama. Thank you for speaking up about this, because we need more of this, and that's why I'm making this video, is to spread more awareness that we need to ban Sharia law, point blank, period. Let's do it. Let me know what you guys think. If you like the video, please sure to hit that like, share this with somebody who needs to see it, subscribe if you're not subscribed. I'd love to have you around. I'm so grateful that you watched to the end. If you made it this far, God bless you.